In part 5, we're going to talk about the initial walk, or the first basically 5-10 minutes of the inspection as you go into the house to the time that you actually start inspecting. So we have arrived already. We've announced ourselves. We're going into the house. This house in particular is vacant. We're basically going to beeline it to the kitchen. We're going to drop our stuff down, and the very first thing we're going to do is grab our flashlight and head directly over to the dishwasher. And the reason is that dishwashers running a normal cycle typically take about 2 hours. So this is a bigger house, but on your typical house, you're going to have 2 hours to do 1,500 square feet, and your dishwasher is going to be running for that full 2 hours. So you want to get it started as soon as you walk in the house, so that way it's done before the walkthrough. Now, with the dishwasher, you want to go ahead and open it up, close that soap dispenser door, and then inspect the inside, looking for any rusted racks, etc. Any reason not to run the dishwasher, or any reason that the dishwasher may not be functioning properly. Is it draining correctly, etc. We don't want to see a bunch of water in the bottom of it. That'll kind of give us a little heads up. Then we're not grabbing our tool belt, we're not breaking out our computers or anything. We're going to walk around the entire house doing our initial walk. During that initial walk, the very first exterior door that we get to, we want to make sure that that opens and is unlocked. So that way, if for some reason this house has automatic locking deadbolt on the front door that is locked behind us, we have a second means of egress, or in this case entry, back into the house in case we get outside and the door locks behind us. We're going around the house, turning on all of our lights, fans, etc., and opening up all of our blinds. Opening the blinds allows us to let in as much natural lighting as possible, helping us to be able to see. As we open up our blinds, sometimes it creates a dust storm, just because they haven't been used in a while. Well, we don't want to be sitting in that dust storm inspecting the window. During the initial walk, that allows us to go ahead and get that dust storm done and over with, and then when we go through the actual inspection walk, then that dust has settled and we can open, close, lock, and inspect those windows. We're also scanning ceilings. So as we're walking around, we're just doing a quick scan of the ceilings on the interior, looking for any sort of water damage, any sort of structural cracking, or anything that we may need to look and investigate further, either in the attic or on the roof. But when we get to the garage, we are going to pay particularly close attention to the ceiling in the garage. Because once we open that garage door, or those garage doors, what's going to end up happening is that's going to obstruct our view of the ceiling in that area. So this is going to be a nice, thorough inspection of our ceiling above the garages. Here I am inspecting the garage doors themselves. There's a separate video explaining how to inspect garage doors and how to do it properly. So you can go ahead and watch it there. So we spend a little bit longer time in the garage just because there's a little bit more that we're paying a closer attention to than just kind of a quick scan of the home. And then we go back inside the home and continue our initial walk. In addition to opening blinds and turning on lights, scanning the ceiling, we're going to be turning on all the lights, all the bathroom vent fans, so that way when we get up to the roof and into the attic, those vent fans are running and we can see if they're exhausting properly. We'll be able to feel them on the roof, in the attic will be able to hear and see them as well. And so we're getting as much on as possible. This allows us to basically put a full load onto the electrical panel, and when we get to the electrical panel, that electrical panel, if there is any overloading, anything that is overheating, etc., we'll be able to notice it then. We're basically putting as much load on the house as possible just to make sure that we're not having an overcurrent event. Again, this is just a quick scan. In bathrooms, the same thing. We're just making sure those bathroom vent fans get turned on, all of the lights get turned on, and this allows us also to look for any sort of major leaking. Is a toilet leaking? Is there any major components, especially in a vacant house? In a vacant house, there's not somebody in there 24/7 or going in and out. So if something's happening, it could be a bigger problem that the listing agent or the owner needs to know about. Additionally, you probably saw this earlier in the video, but we hit one thermostat. We're coming around to a second one. During the initial walk, we're putting both thermostats into the heating mode. When we put it into the heating mode, we're going to switch it into heat and then raise it up 20 degrees. The reason that we raise it up 20 degrees is so that way when we get done with the heat, we know that we just need to go back down 20 degrees, and it's right where the homeowner left it. Another thing that we're looking for is our attic accesses. So as we're looking in closets, looking in bathrooms, or in this case the laundry room, we're going ahead and noting that, because the attic is going to be one of the next videos coming up. But to go back to that heat for just a moment, so we got the heat on downstairs and we got the heat on upstairs in this house as of right now. Now, once we finish the initial walk, we're going to do the kitchen. After the kitchen's done, then we can go ahead and verify our heat, both upstairs and downstairs, and then getting that heat turned off, letting it pause while we do the attic and the roof before we turn it into the AC mode. Another thing the initial walk allows us to do is to inspect the entire house quickly, just to make sure that there is no other people, pets, rats, whatever it may be in the home, mostly just vagrants or any sort of squatters, and just kind of scan the house and just know the layout of the home, know that we are alone, and be able to look for all those initial larger items. You'll also notice that I don't have a professional camera crew. It's just some trainees or fellow inspectors helping me out by getting me some content video. So excuse any sort of fingers or bodies that you see in the way. You'll notice as I'm doing this initial walk, I'm basically still using that right hand search pattern. As I'm going around the house, I'm just not being as detailed with my walk. This also allows me to kind of figure out, is there any double open door rooms that I need to put up false walls and kind of plan my actual inspection walk, or change anything, put up false walls, etc. Using that right hand search pattern, we'll eventually make our way back to the kitchen. Another reason that we start the dishwasher before we do our initial walk is that as we do our initial walk, that dishwasher's just getting started. If that dishwasher is leaking or does have a bad seal, by the time we finish our initial walk, it's only been about 5 or 10 minutes. So if that dishwasher is leaking, we'll be able to see and catch it with a nice small puddle and not a big flooded kitchen. And so as we get back to the kitchen, that's when I'll go ahead and start setting up my computer and getting ready before the actual inspection process. So the initial walk, there's no tools. The only tool that I carry with me during the initial walk is going to be the flashlight. Then I'll set up my computer. The reason I set up my computer is A, to get it plugged in, so that way it's nice and charged. I also want to get my computer up and running. My computer likes to do updates once I start the computer, so I'll open the computer and then it automatically will do an automatic update when need be. I don't want to get done with the inspection, sit down at my computer, and then have that computer, when I need it, all of a sudden start to do its updating process. So it can update while I'm doing the rest of the inspection. By the time I need it, I get back to it. Additionally, having my computer up, running, and ready, if I do get a phone call for another inspection, all I have to do is make my way back down to the computer and I can go ahead and schedule that inspection right there on the spot. One of the things you'll notice throughout the series is that I like to use a camera and desktop software. I'm not a tablet or do the inspection report as I walk around the home for multiple reasons. The main one is just I know myself. When I'm doing inspecting, my feet like to constantly be moving. When you're doing it on a tablet or doing the report, you gotta remember to stop your feet and make your comments, take your photos, insert anything, and not keep on moving. So I tried a tablet software once and I found myself missing or just moving too quickly during the inspection process. I feel like I do the computer and template with my pictures and my camera faster or just as fast as with a tablet. So that's just my way because I know myself. Once you're all set up, that's when you are now moving on to the next step. The next step in my normal routine is to do the kitchen. And that's exactly where we're going to pick up in our next video. And that's going to be part 6, kitchens.